To be a movie star, you gotta do a lot of things. You have to play a good social game, be easy to work with, be a somewhat good actor.
Kalel, no!
But most importantly, and what no one talks about, is that you have to be open to humiliation. Kind of like being a YouTuber. Actors are mere tools in Hollywood who are projected in order to perpetuate humiliating psyops that we seem to fall for every single time. Which brings us to this Teyana Taylor situation, which everyone is currently talking about. So I might as well talk about it, because I have thoughts too, and like built up putrefying mucus, I have to get it off my chest, or else I'm gonna literally die, which will be my one-way ticket straight to hell. This video is about how Hollywood plays in black actors' faces all the time, which I'm coining the Teyana Taylor Psyop. You know, the running sick gag where Hollywood only awards black women for playing specific roles. I also want to talk about how actors who are more willing to be humiliated are typically elevated in Hollywood, Michael B. Jordan getting snubbed, and why you should be mad about all of this, and why you shouldn't be mad at the same time. I am Don, your pop culture grandpa. Let's do this.
Let's do this.
That's catastrophic.
Before I talk about the Teyana Taylor situation, let's address the elephant in the room. I don't care what anyone says, disagree with me in the comments if you want, but in order to make it big in Hollywood as an actor, you have to be okay with being humiliated in the public's eye. I'm not saying that one doesn't need to possess the essential talent that is being a good actor. Being good is great, but it takes more than being a good actor to garner the movie star image or the A-list celebrity. Or that rarely happens. It's never the actors who play the normal roles, let's say a character who likes gardening, who lives a generally speaking normal life, safe life. No, it's the complicated character. It's the characters most people wouldn't want to be in real life. The shoes no one consciously volunteers to fill in society. That's perceived as demeaning or humiliating to fill. The shoes of someone who, let's say abuses substances, a victim of bullying, or someone who is gay. Not ignoring that not all actors may feel a sense of shame playing these characters, but it's the broadcasting of the final product to the globe of these characters in immense vulnerability, which is what's required to sell as believable to the audience. Those are the roles that catapult one's name beyond the silver screen or the white light screen of your computer into the ethos of superstardom. To clarify, I'm mainly focusing on today's actors, mainly in the main circuit of Hollywood, who are more faced with the acceptance of being humiliated in order to be famous or to be recognized by the Academy. But this also applied in former days of Hollywood as well. Maybe not like today, but actors then understood the assignment as well. And that's not me condoning this normality in film, nor am I rejecting it as bad either. Rather stating a complex fact. It's the humiliating roles that tend to set one apart from the flock in Hollywood. While actress Janet Leigh, who started acting in mid-century America, didn't have trouble booking jobs in the 40s and 50s, securing major roles, major screen time. It wasn't until securing the role of Marion Crane in the 1960 horror film Psycho, produced and directed by Alfred Hitchcock, one of Hollywood's most revered filmmakers, that the actress's career shifted from a fairly regular face to icon status. In the film, Marion Crane, a real estate secretary, steals $40,000 from her place of employment in pursuit of selfish desires. In an attempt to flee town, Marion ends up booking a night at the prestigious Bates Motel due to heavy rainfall, and because she didn't want to get pancaked. There, she was murdered horrifically with a knife in the shower, an iconic turning point in the horror genre. Side note, I also find this scene impressive, especially for the fact that the stabs wasn't shown. It was the techniques of jump cuts and the dramatic music, along with Marion's facial expressions, that did all the work. While the filming process itself was a difficult but technical experience, Janet Leigh, who got nominated for Best Supporting Actress by the Academy, was not humiliated by it. Rather, she was profoundly traumatized by the final edit scenes, as it made her realize how vulnerable one is in a shower. This led to her avoiding showers for the rest of her life. In 1984, the now late star told Woman's World, "I stopped taking showers, and I only take baths. And when I'm someplace where I can only take a bath, I make sure the doors and windows of the house are locked. I also leave the bathroom door open and shower curtains open. I'm always facing the door, watching no matter where the shower head is." So in this case, it's this vulnerable position of being in the shower naked and being unbeknownstly, not sure if that's the word, viewed, that evokes the emotion of humiliation for the audience, and also for Janet, who was traumatized in hindsight, which is why she went to those lenses of not being caught off guard in that embarrassing position like the character played. Also, I was today's years old when I learned that Janet is the mother of Jamie Lee Curtis. Nepotism, don't you just love it? I recently watched Die My Love starring Jennifer Lawrence and Robert Pattinson, which I think is about postpartum and the human condition. As we watch Jennifer Lawrence's character, Grace, psyche deteriorates, opposite Jackson, played by Robert Pattinson, who is not emotionally prepared to handle the situation. But who would? Anyway, interesting movie, wouldn't recommend it for everyone. Nonetheless, I find it interesting. Anyway, there's a scene where after Grace finishes breastfeeding her child, didn't bother pulling up her bra, exposing one of her breasts for all to see. She exits the baby room, enters her writing area, staring at a blank sheet of paper. Then her exposed area starts leaking on the blank sheet of paper. Now, there is nothing wrong with freeing the nipple, but I'm sure most actresses wouldn't opt, to show their breast due to humiliation, even though there's really nothing to be humiliated about. But in society, this can be seen as humiliating. While I find Grace extremely intuitive, I also find the exploration really draining in an intimate way, like watching a relative detach from reality, even though she's probably the most self-aware person in the entire film, which makes it even more frustrating to watch. Also, this year, Jennifer Lawrence received a Golden Globe nomination for the role for Best Actress in a Motion Picture. And I'm noticing Jennifer Lawrence, she tends to play a lot of characters on the verge of psychotic break, which many actresses just wouldn't do because that can be a very humiliating experience for the viewer to see, and also for them as an actress. Viola Davis, who played the role of a good wife / doormat, depending on who you ask, in 2017's Fences, lived in the shadow of her husband, played by Denzel Washington. After 18 years of marriage, one sweet day, Troy, played by Denzel, brought home a newborn child by his side piece, Alberta, who passed during childbirth, to be raised by Rose, to which she did like it was her own. In a heated argument between the two and a pivotal moment, emotionally charged moment in Act 2 of the film, Rose stands up for herself, or stands up to Troy, bearing her soul, finally confronting him about his betrayal, and how she basically wasted her life by being a good wife, all the while her face is covered in tears and snot. And sure, this is a necessary, real honest moment, but also pretty humiliating. Viola received praise and global acclaim for her performance. Even the Academy was impressed, awarding her an Oscar in the Best Supporting Actress category in 2017.
There's one place that all the people with the greatest potential are gathered. One place, and that's the graveyard. People ask me all the time, what kind of stories do you want to tell, Viola? And I say, exhume those bodies. Exhume those stories. The stories of the people who dreamed big and never saw those dreams to fruition. People who fell in love and lost. I became an artist, and thank God I did, because we are the only profession that celebrates what it means to live a life.
Also, in 2017, Call Me By Your Name explores a queer relationship involving straight actors Timothée Chalamet and Armie Hammer's characters Elio and Oliver. In this weird age gap dynamic no one seemed to notice back in 2017, Elio being 17 juxtaposed with Oliver being 24. This was also pre-Armie's cannibalistic accusations. But regarding the age gap, I'm pretty sure no one cared at the time because it was a gay dynamic between a boy and a man. But I'm sure if this was between the opposite sex, let's say a 24-year-old man and a 17-year-old girl, they probably wouldn't even make the movie, or it would be called out immediately. Anyway, the point I'm making is that in the film, Elio and Oliver are in this taboo situation that can amount to shame in many different societies and cultures. The film also explores the shame both characters experience in a heterosexual expected world, especially for Oliver, who by the end of the film expressed to Elio that he envied his accepting parents and also married a woman, mirroring what both closeted and non-closeted queer people experience. Nonetheless, the actors committed to these roles that pretty much opened doors for both of them, even though it's looked down upon, unfortunately. Especially for Timothy, whose career has pretty much exploded as a result, and that's putting it mildly. Like, he's now, Hollywood's leading man at the moment. The movie also became a cult hit, bringing in $43 million at the box office against its $3 million budget. To conclude this segment, the overall point isn't that these actors should feel humiliation from these characters they played that I mentioned. And if so, that is fine, as these are pretty intimate and humbling characters, but I'm more so saying it's the humiliation that follows afterwards, such as maybe their life, their real life character comes into question by the public, or simply their performance gets ridiculed as a result. Assuming a fictional character, which is open for all interpretations, which leads us to the next segment, the Teyana Taylor Psyop. The actress is being used in very contentious psyoptic debates online for playing the Jezebel type in the One Battle After Another film. And what really pissed people off is her winning Best Supporting Actress in a Motion Picture at the Golden Globes for playing the trope. But the icing on the cake is her playing the kind of twisted love interest of not one, but two white men, which are characters played by Leonardo DiCaprio and Sean Penn, whose character had one of the most satisfying endings in the history of cinema. Come on now, that was perfect. The Jezebel image is very controversial in the Black community, which portrays Black women as hypersexual, seductive, and promiscuous figures whose primary power comes from their sexuality to manipulate men. This caricature often features dark-skinned, voluptuous women with insatiable lust, lacking morals and self-control, and deviates from Afrocentric features to align with Eurocentric beauty standards, making them appear exotic or freaks rather than fully human. Aesthetically, Teyana's image does align with these features. She got that ass you can literally sit a drink on, shaped like figure 8. And she's also altered her face, deviating from her Afro features to a Eurocentric one. Now, I'm not blaming Teyana or am I trying to shame her. I'm just saying you can see how she fits the trope based on the role / stereotypical image wise. And I'm also not mad that she accepted the role per se, because she got to pay her bills somehow. And I know I'm not going to pay her bills. And also, she's an actor. She's doing what actors do. That said, this role does promote a harmful stereotype towards Black women in broader society, even though it comes off more as exploration than promoted, in my opinion. Nonetheless, hence the fighting online, people saying Black women shouldn't look up to her or that her win is nothing to celebrate, which I get but fundamentally disagree with, especially for the character she plays in the film, meaning maybe we should also accept that female characters can enjoy sex as well. I get the stereotyping claims, there is definitely a discussion there, but I think there is more to the character than meets the eye. While art does imitate real life, a fact I'm not oblivious to, Black women comes in all shapes and sizes, different personalities. But these negative tropes, negative stereotypes tends to stick around a lot more for Black women and Black men as well. What I'm getting at is we also have to admit that the Jezebel type is also a real person. The world is filled with different characters, and the quote-unquote Jezebel is mostly a deeply complex character who is only reduced to their sexual gratifications due to narrow thinking. But importantly, the Jezebel, she also deserves a voice or representation. But then again, this is all bittersweet, right? Because Teyana Taylor killed her role. Hands down, she ate. No crumbs left. But Hollywood know exactly what they are doing, and it does also feels like a sick joke. Nonetheless, she is being elevated in Hollywood like we've never seen before, and Homegirl has been on her grind for a very long time now. There's even rumors that she's also being nominated or being considered for a Oscar nomination. There's also discourse about Timothée Chalamet winning Best Actor at the 31st Critics' Choice Awards for playing Marty in Marty Supreme over Michael B. Jordan, who played two characters in Sinners, in light of the media downplaying Sinners' success, while glorifying Marty Supreme as the box office giant. Variety. Yeah, you thought we forgot. We will never forget.
The North remembers.
Who is also currently allegedly smearing Teyana on Twitter for apparently still basically having a soft spot for Kanye, who has been very instrumental in her career, which I understand her position because she kind of owes him a debt. Fuck Kanye. I'm always on fuck Kanye timing, but when I put myself in her shoes, I get it. Disagree, but I get it. Variety is allegedly now smearing her image after her Golden Globe win based off her cover story comments with Vanity Fair on her win, career, etc. Allegedly. Because black people have been roasting Variety for their low-key racist bias against sinners. A little shameless plug, you can watch me go into more detail on the matter in my Hollywood Stopped Hollying video. I'm currently in my film bro bag, being a distinguished man. But back to Michael B. Jordan. I'm not surprised he didn't win.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised.
And I really don't understand why people are still shocked when black actors are overlooked by these white institutions, which will in most cases be in favor of their white interest. And sorry, but I have to admit it, but it makes sense. These white institutions had no intentions of ever uplifting black people when deserved or when black people are the most impactful. They will choose white almost every time. And I'm content with that. It's not fair, but reality is these are not, our awards nor our systems. Let's pour this effort, outrage, and excitement towards ceremonies more geared towards people of color, especially for black people, such as the NAACP Image Awards and others specializing in awarding black talent. Personally, I don't have an opinion on which actor should have won, as the only film I saw was Sinners, so it wouldn't be right for me to have an opinion. But to be clear, it would be nice to see, would have been nice to see Michael B. Jordan win. But in my opinion, and this might be controversial, but if anyone deserves a nomination from the Sinners movie, it's Wunmi Mosaku. I know I fucked that up. I'm so sorry. But her character is the most impressive in the movie to me. But back to Michael B. Jordan again. There was also discourse about who was the bigger star, Michael B. Jordan or Timothée Chalamet. And if Jordan doesn't win an Oscar, favoring Tim instead is because of racism. By the way, the Oscar nominations haven't been announced yet. Watch this clip of Torre giving his opinion on why Timothy might be more favorable for an Oscar over Jordan, while correlating this to Tim being the bigger star in terms of the box office.
The Michael B. Jordan versus Timmy Chalamet Oscar battle has a lot of creators in a tizzy. People are dying to say if Michael loses, it's because of racism. My friends, there's a whole other dynamic going on. The Oscars is a promotional vehicle for Hollywood. They are promoting their films and their future stars. Winning something like Best Actor can propel your career to another level. He could be the next #1 most bankable actor in Hollywood. This is the hope in many Hollywood minds. At a moment when the theater business is struggling, this could be a kid who brings people back to the theaters. Giving him a Best Actor trophy helps propel his career even more. The sense is that Chalamet has a higher ceiling than Michael B. Jordan as far as box office. So they may opt for Chalamet as a self-serving vehicle as far as if he wins and he rises, a rising tide lifts all boats. They, the actors themselves, they are the boats. Hollywood may feel like making him a bigger star is better for everyone in Hollywood. It's not a rejection of Michael B. Jordan,
which caused a lot of backlash in his direction. Personally, well, not personally. Both actors are A-list. While I understand where Torre is coming from, as he's been in the business as a media person for since I was a child, this man has been in media. But where he went wrong with his take is the dismissal of racism and the fact that there are more opportunities for white men in Hollywood. Hence, Timothy's A-list status will always trump Michael B. Jordan's. I don't understand how he missed that, the unfairness in Hollywood when it comes to race and also being rooted in racism. And Torre got, a lot of pushback, as I said, from this. A lot of people are now calling him a coon, blah, 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 which I get, but come on, all he did was give his opinion. Yeah, his take was narrow-minded, which is shocking, but I see where he's coming from. But I still wished he'd address the situation from all angles. Returning back to the sick joke mentioned earlier, it's the same song and dance with Hollywood. Nominating black actors, have the press hype them up to promote their award shows, then not award them, or almost exclusively awarding black women for playing humiliating roles, playing the maid, the Jezebel, or their specialty, which is a slave. While sure, some of these roles can teach a lesson or be insightful, but it's the trend of this characterization that is the problem here. It's like a constant psychological reminder of how black women and even women in general should be viewed. And then these actors have to be grateful and appreciative in order to keep acting, otherwise face blacklisting. It's like a gigantic humiliation ritual where either black women have to play demeaning characters to further their career. And don't only blame Hollywood, as I think we, the audience, play a part in this humiliation as well. This is why a lot of male actors will do method acting, because there's nothing really masculine or dominant about acting, considering the patriarchal hierarchy. Back in December, Kristen Stewart shared my sentiments on the matter while discussing Marlon Brando's methods when acting. She told the New York Times, "Performance is inherently vulnerable and therefore quite embarrassing and unmasculine. There's no bravado in suggesting that you're a mouthpiece for someone else's ideas. It's inherently submissive. Have you ever heard of a female actor that was method?" She continued, "Right. Men are aggrandized for retaining self. Brando sounds like a hero, doesn't he? If a woman did that, it would be different. If you have to do 50 push-ups before your close-up or refuse to say a word a certain way, Brando, not coming for him. There's a common act that happens before the acting happens on set. If they can protrude out of the vulnerability and feel like a gorilla pounding their chest before they cry on camera, it's a little less embarrassing. It also makes it seem like a magic trick, like it is so impossible to do what you're doing that nobody else could do. There are so many levels to this, both on a sinister, cosmic, or a spiritual level. But I don't want to ignore that whenever people take these humiliating choices that are perceived as too risky or too honest, because people are made fun of for being honest and truthful so many times. But doors do tend to open when one decides to take that route of telling uncomfortable stories, because you end up speaking for the unseen or doing what many wish they could do but can't. Maybe this video made no sense, but that's my conclusion and I'm sticking to it. What do you think? To everyone who guessed the title of this video, thank you so much. It means a lot. Whenever y'all reply in the comedy section to my posts there. Woo, yeah, woo, yeah. I am Don, your pop culture boy, and I will see you in the next one.